Now, two things. When you first saw this response, this was the E grade in a GCSE exam last year, all right? Joe, read that out for me, please, sir. The E grade.
I think George feels isolated. And what I got you. You can't keep a job and you lose me every job. This shows George is angry and frustrated with Lenny.
All right, cool. Now, why is that automatically going to get an E? Why would that not get anything else above an E? What are some of the problems there with it? What do we see that, why is that a weak answer? All right, Tamar.
Because it doesn't have any analysis, it doesn't refer to anything, and like she says that what it shows, but she doesn't say why, and like why does it show that he's frustrated with Lenny or anything?
Okay, so no analysis of language at all. All right, yes, sir.
No connectives.
No connectives at all. Good. Yes, ma'am.
Effect on reader.
The effect on the reader, not there at all. Yes, ma'am. It doesn't link back to the question at all. Yes, sir.
It doesn't involve author.
Yeah, it doesn't involve the mention of Steinbeck at all. Good job, dude. No mention of any of that. So you're missing out on all of this. And if the point, quote, comment, if the comment is the biggest part of your exam answer, and you have to get all of these things into your exam answer, and the comment part is supposed to be the best part, was the comment part, was that very J-Lo-ish? You know, was that your J-Lo kind of answer? No. The comment was the weakest part, wasn't it? It was the skinniest part, and you don't want that. You've got to have something the examiner's going to remember. All right, let me hear just a couple of examples that you and your partner came up with. So let me just hear briefly a couple of your examples, and then we'll see, and then we're going to move on to the next task. So, Sargent's group, you and Ben, what did y'all come up with, dude? Or Ben can read it, whatever y'all want. Make sure you use nice, loud voices. That's okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be finished. You didn't have a lot of time for it. I just want to see.
In this quote, John Steinbeck expresses George's feelings to be frustrated and anger, as Lenny loses him all his jobs they get. Lenny is trying to tell George that he wished he never stuck with him because Lenny doesn't know. Lenny doesn't want to look after him.
Okay. All right. So right there in the very first thing, what did he do that was good? What did he do that went well? Yes, ma'am.
He used the author's name.
Yeah, he's used the author's name. And he also did what? There was another thing that he did in the very beginning. He used the key term isolated. Yes? So that helped to link back and refer to the question. All right? Let me hear another example. Good job, y'all. Let me hear another example. Let's go with Lee's group, please.
In the book of Mice and Men written by John Steinbeck, we can see that George feels isolated and lonely and cold. The quote, firstly, this language portrays that George is angry and frustrated at Lenny. We can see that in the way he acts. Moreover, the language highlights that he's angry, and the short sentence, "I got you!" exclamation mark, puts a lot of emphasis on this, and the short sentence makes you think. Furthermore, the exclamation marks put a lot of emphasis on this as well. In addition, he uses a rhetorical question which makes us think. The effect on the reader is that he feels sympathetic towards George, however, they feel negative towards Lenny. All in all, we can see that the language implies that George is isolated and alone.
Dude. Can we give him a round of applause? I think that was pretty good. Yeah? Well done. You and your partner did really well with that. You saw what you needed and you were able to tick all those criteria. Well done. Let's give one example of one last group and then we're going to move around. So can I have y'all's group, please?
Throughout of Mice and Men, George feels isolated. And what I got you. You can't keep a job and you lose me every job. This shows George is angry and frustrated with Lenny, because George does not want to lose their job. However, George always has to look after Lenny, even if he does feel isolated.
All right, cool. We're probably going to beef that up a little bit with a few more analysis of the language. All right, well done, though. All right, I'm going to give you a number, and I want you to remember your number, please. I need the ones here, my twos here, my threes, and my fours. All right? 3, 4, 1, and 2. Okay? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Lee, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Can you move around, please? Take your pack with you. Take your pack with you. Now flip over, please, to where it says C grade or higher. All right, can I please have, let's have, why don't you go ahead and read that for me, please?
I think George feels isolated because he's stuck with Lenny, who stops him getting good jobs and always gets him in trouble. God Almighty, I wish I was alone. I could live so easily. This shows that George is frustrated and angry with Lenny. George can't go out and enjoy himself because he's scared Lenny will get in trouble. When George says, God Almighty, it shows that George is very aggressive towards Lenny.
All right. Now, Brooke, what was done with the fact that this was a C grade and they did okay with it? What was pretty good about this?
They picked out like a part of the quote and analysed it.
Okay.
Said, like why they used that, and then they talked about like how George is like aggressive towards Lenny and how he reacts to Lenny.
Okay, cool. So they've done a bit of language. They've not done a lot. They've maybe done like half a J-Lo. Okay, they haven't done the whole J-Lo. The comment is not as good as it could be, but they've done a little bit of it. They've done enough to secure a C grade. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to pick at your table to come up with a really good quality exam response that you think you can improve this from a C. We now need to bump it up to that A to A star range. What could be done to go from a C to an A star range? What is necessary? What's necessary? Yes, sir.
Say why it makes him frustrated, like what in the quote says that.
Okay, what in the quote makes him actually frustrated? And then taking it further, Joe?
Refer to the author.
Refer to the author. Good job, dude. Yes, ma'am.
Effect on the reader.
The effect on the reader. Now, why is the effect on the reader so absolutely necessary? Why is it? If it's frustrated, how is that going to affect the reader? How will that, if it shows him frustrated, how is it going to affect him? Yes, sir.
It shows a relationship between Lenny and George.
Okay, good. Exactly, dude. It shows a relationship between Lenny and George, and that's basically the whole theme of the novel. You're looking at relationships between Lenny and George, and you want to make sure that you get it into your exam answer. Okay? So well done. Now, as a group, I want you to think about this. You've seen the C grade. Pretty good, not bad. But because you are the smartest year 10 group here at Hayden School, I know that you can just absolutely knock it, out of the ballpark, do it even bigger, and get the A to A star grade. Okay? So, flip over to the next couple of pages and look at this one. These are examples of A to A star exam response grades that I want you to give me. All right? These are some really good beefed up examples. Now, Ian, read example 1, please.
John Starbeck has made the character of Lenny seem very childlike by the way he acts in the story. Lenny looked timidly over him. George? Yeah, what you want? Where are we going, George? So you forgot what already, did you? I gotta tell you again, do I?
Should we have Ian read that again with the accent?
No.
I think we should have Ian read that again with the accent. You want to try it one more time? I think. How many of us think we should take a vote and see Ian with the accent? Yeah, I think so. Obviously. Come on, one more time. One more time with the accent. All right, here we go. Give us a quote.
John Starbeck has made the character of Lenny seem very childlike by the way he acts in the story. Lenny looked timidly over him. George? Yeah, what you want? Where are we going, George? So you forgot already, did you? I gotta tell you again, do I?
All right, now back. Can we give him? That was pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, go ahead, please. The comment.
This conversation reminds the reader of a child asking an adult question. By saying that Lenny looked timidly over him, you can imagine a child nervously looking at an adult before asking them a question. Also, the way George reacts to the question reminds the reader of an adult being angry and annoyed with a child because they keep on asking the same question. However, Lenny is a grown man and is much bigger than George, so this shows us how Lenny acts like a child and that George is his carer.
Well done, mate. Good job. Now, we see that answer right there. Everything that you told Andrew earlier, everything that you know that is embedded in your head to get the exam results that you need from an A to an A star, that answer encompassed, all of that. So what you need to do now is this. As a group, okay, I want you to come up with one exam response. You're going to write it on this paper. You're going to create your own J-Lo burger. You're going to show us your J-Lo burger answer. You're going to use the C grade. George feels isolated. So whatever your point is, it's going to do with isolation. Your point will deal with isolation. As one group, you're going to come up with one answer. You're all going to come up with one hamburger, and you're going to show us your hamburgers in just a little bit. So you need to make sure your exam answer is very strong. It encompasses and it embeds everything that you need for that A to A star, and you need to really push yourselves. You need to be talking, you need to be working well, and you need to come up and try to make your C grade answer that you see before you. You know, you want to make this answer match something that looks very familiar with the A grade, the A to A star grade. Yes? Who is unclear about that?
Do we find the right one?
Yes, sir.
Shall we use the same quote?
You can, use the same quote, use a point that deals with isolation, and then come up with your own comment. Yes? But just at the same time, use the same quote and use a point that deals with isolation. All right? Lee, you got it? Big smiles? There you go. All right, here we go. All right, guys, get to it. All of you working together as a group. I want to see lots of interaction with each other, and I want to see lots of work on this, coming up with one per table. The quote, yeah. God Almighty, if I was alone, I could live. It's so easy. So you're using this quote. Yeah. So God Almighty, you're going to use this quote, a point about isolation. You're going to come up with your own burger, your comment. Okay?
Because he still needs it. So he says that, but he still needs it.
Yeah, you're using everything. So you're using this. They're using the point. You can rewrite it to make it your own, to make it stronger. But it's about isolation. You're using the same quote, okay? And you're going to come up with your A grade answer for your comment. Okay? Cool? All right, guys, so you're going to use the same quote. The point will be about isolation. And you're going to come up with your A grade comment. Yeah? Cool. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you can. But the thing is, you may want to change this point to make it a bit stronger.
We change the quote.
No. You can choose it because we're going to save time. Make sure you're doing it.
According to George, he feels that he's got to live so much better without Lenny.
All right, good stuff. Now let's get those filled in and get them ready for the answers.
However, he's stuck with it and therefore feels isolated.
You can use the same point as long as it deals with isolation. So if you want to rewrite it, that's fine. But just make sure it's dealing with isolation. Y'all all right, guys? Yeah. So what are you coming up with for your point? Okay. All right. Okay, now you need to come up with what you're going to include in that comment to make it a really strong one. Okay? We'll start making sure you've got all the elements that you need to tick all the boxes for that grade.
His life would be easier. Yeah, life.
Okay. How's it going?
Good.
Everyone should make sure they're sharing ideas. I shouldn't just see one person talking. I should everyone talking, everyone giving ideas.
Just finished.
Cool.
Quote.
This quote written by George, should we say that was?
Yeah.
We've started and just said a little bit, just say, write something else with effect to read it last and take that.
John Steinbeck expressing his George's feelings.
Furthermore, John Steinbeck.
No?
Yeah.
It was a bit posh today.
Furthermore, John Steinbeck.
All right. Joe, how's your table doing, dude? Is it all right?